The new rear-wheel drive Volvo C40 Recharge has way less horsepower and torque than its all-wheel drive counterpart. There's less traction here, plus when you hit the accelerator pedal, this thing is significantly slower. But despite these downsides, this is absolutely the version of the C40 Recharge that you should purchase. And if you don't believe me, well, keep watching. And of course, if you do already believe me, I encourage you to watch as well because it's really good for our audience retention rates. Thanks. So the big news for 2024 is the availability of a new single motor rear-wheel drive configuration, the first rear drive Volvo offered in the US in some 25 years. Now, aside from that configuration change, this vehicle also features a newer and larger battery pack, one that has a gross capacity of 82 kilowatt hours, and that gets you up to 297 miles of EPA estimated range. Though, of course, if you opt for the slightly boxier XC40 Recharge rear drive single motor trim, you're going to have about 293 miles on a full charge. Now, this newer battery pack is also a charging champion because it tops out at up to 200 kilowatts, which honestly is a fantastic performance here in 2024. One that's enough to get you from 10 to 80% in just about 28 minutes, so really nice there. Of course, if you do want all-wheel drive, you can get the twin-motor version of the C40 or the XC40 Recharge. If you do that, you're going to have to live with a smaller 78 kilowatt-hour battery pack that only DC fast charges at up to 155 kilowatts, which honestly these days is a pretty average performance. Now, other than those huge foundational changes, this is still the same Volvo C40 we've known and loved for years. It's a very clean and classy looking SUV, and you've got to appreciate that gently sloping roofline, which yes, it does cut a little bit into cargo space and interior headroom, but it adds a lot of visual interest to this vehicle's profile. Moving up to the front here, again, not a lot going on, but I did want to point these out, the headlights. These are the Pixel Technology headlights. Of course, they incorporate the Thor's hammer design element here, which kind of looks like a pickaxe. These things also have 84 LEDs, and they provide absolutely fantastic illumination at night. These are superb headlamps that really cut through the darkness, though they're designed in a way that they are adaptive so they can prevent blinding drivers in the other lane, which of course is a very good thing to improve roadway safety. Additionally, we have cornering lamps on this vehicle, so say at low speeds you're turning to go into a driveway, they can help illuminate around that corner so that you can see more, which is again another very good thing. So this C40 Recharge is dressed in cloud blue paint. Depending on the lighting, your monitor or phone screen, this may look white or even like a light gray. And normally I really do not care for white vehicles, but I really like this color. It's distinctive and bright, and despite being nearly white, I think it looks pretty excellent on the C40 here. As for wheels, 19s come standard on this SUV, though the Ultimate trim upgrades those to 20 inches that also are quite stylish. They fit the overall design quite nicely. As for cargo space, up front under the hood there is a frunk. It's not very big. You can accommodate the charging cable and a few tchotchkes, but really that's about it. As for the business end of the C40 Recharge, if I pop the hatch here, you can see we've got about 49 cubic feet of room in the back of this vehicle with the seat backs folded down, which is a pretty decent amount of space for a high fashion vehicle like the C40 here. Additionally, engineers have incorporated this sort of split level floor. So what you can do is pick up right here on the handle, push it forward and lock it into place. It's very sturdy like that. If those seat backs were in their upright position, you can see we've significantly narrowed the overall size of the cargo hold, which is great because that will keep your groceries or other items from rolling around or potentially spilling while you are driving. Similarly, the 2024 C40 Recharge's cabin has no surprises, and that is not a bad thing. This interior is beautifully built, incorporates many premium materials, and it is extremely comfortable. Speaking of which, these front seats are awesome. They are power operated in the Ultimate trim, both the driver's chair and the front passenger position, and this includes 4-way lumbar, which is great news, of course. Additionally, these seats are wrapped in a beautiful wool blend fabric. It feels fantastic, it looks amazing, and it's a wonderful alternative to leather, be it the real thing or artificial leather. I think this is something that really helps this car stand out from other vehicles in the class. And of course, these front seats, I would be remiss if I didn't mention it, they are super comfortable on long drives, something I recently experienced by putting Volvo and Starbucks' new charging network to the test across the American West. And of course, if you haven't seen that video yet, click the link above and give it a watch. It was a whole lot of fun to produce that feature. And of course, while you're at it, make sure you subscribe to the EV Pulse YouTube channel. And to be clear, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, subscribe. Go ahead and hit that button right now. I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait. Did you hit subscribe yet? Very good. I knew we'd get through these. Now, all of that being said, the back seat in this vehicle is merely okay. It's not particularly spacious. I wish there was a bit more legroom. And of course, headroom is in short supply because of that sloping roofline. There's also a giant hump in the floor, so you've got to deal with that. Though I will say the back bench is supportive, and of course, the outboard positions are heated, which is good news. Additionally, the top shelf Ultimate trim comes with a range of other goodies you're probably going to want, and right off the bat, to use a sports metaphor, you get a heat pump in the HVAC system, which can help improve vehicle range in cold weather because it's much more efficient. Additionally, the HVAC system comes with a particulate matter filter down to 2.5 microns, which can help keep dust and allergens out of the cabin, and more importantly, out of your sinuses and lungs. You don't want that stuff getting in there if you can help it. Now, beyond that, we've also got a super strong, like industrial grade heated steering wheel. This is easily one of the most effective I have ever experienced in any vehicle I've tested. It gets really hot, and that shouldn't be a surprise because Volvo is a Scandinavian company, and rumor has it their winters can be pretty harsh up there. And finally, of course, we do have a Harman Kardon premium sound system, so you can rock out to your favorite tunes while driving, or listen to podcasts, or perhaps even just modem sounds. I mean, that's pretty weird, but you do you. I am not here to judge, at least not on camera. So overall, there's a lot to love about the C40 Recharge's cabin, though there are a few downsides, or at least things that I don't care for, and one of the biggest is right up top here. This vehicle does come with a glass roof, which is something I would never want as an option because my eyes are very sensitive to glare while driving. This is why I don't really care for convertibles. Of course, if you like open-air motoring, you're free to be wrong, but I do not care for convertibles. Now, it's not all bad news. This glass panel is tinted, which does help reduce some of the glare, though I really wish it came with a proper shade so you could just shut it down while you are driving. Beyond that, another thing I do not care for about this car's interior is some of the trim that they've got on the dashboard and the door panels. It's a topographic pattern that it has in it, which brings to mind a region of northern Sweden like you would see on a topographic map. And that's kind of cool, but the problem is this is basically just cheap black plastic, and it's backlit at night, which looks really cheesy. I would much prefer having, I don't know, reclaimed barnwood or something sustainable like that as a trim in this vehicle, because this does lower the experience. It looks pretty bad. And then the last thing that I think could be improved about the cabin is the instrument cluster. This is a 12.3-inch digital display, of course, and it's easy to read and looks nice, but there's really no customizability here. You can push a button on the steering wheel spoke, which brings up the map, which is great when you're driving and navigating to a destination, but you push the button again and it just goes away and there's a black box, and that's it. The whole point of a digital instrument cluster is to have various views and some customizability, so it's kind of curious why Volvo didn't do a lot with this system here. So over on the center of the dashboard, we have a 9-inch touchscreen. Yes, this could probably be a little bit larger, but it works very well as it is, and this panel is home to a Google-based infotainment system that, in my not-so-humble opinion, is easily one of the best multimedia arrays available in the automotive industry today. This system absolutely flies. It is so quick, so responsive, you almost can't believe it. Additionally, you can sit down in this vehicle, and in about 5 minutes, you're going to learn where everything is and how it works. It's just incredibly intuitive as well. So Volvo did a fantastic job setting up this infotainment system. And of course, since it is Google-based, you also get access to a variety of Google services. There's, of course, Google Maps, like you just saw. There's the Google Play Store, and then Google Assistant, which is great for answering questions and doing other things. What is spotted dick?
Here's the definition of spotted dick: a suet pudding containing currants.
There you go. Get your mind out of the gutter, folks. It's a dessert, not something you have to go see the doctor about. Although if you do have spots down there, you might want to call your physician. Just saying. We don't give out medical advice here, but call the doctor. Anyway, beyond all of that, we also have Apple CarPlay, as you can see on the screen here. You need a cable for this to work, though, so make sure you bring one, but you just hook your phone up. It pops up pretty much immediately and works as you would expect. Aside from that larger battery pack I mentioned earlier, as well as the faster charging and enhanced range, the C40 Recharge single-motor rear-wheel drive model also features a new permanent magnet electric motor that was actually developed in-house by Volvo, and it's good for 248 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, which is enough to get this thing from 0 to 60 miles per hour in an estimated 6.9 seconds. So no, the C40 Recharge is not the quickest EV ever built, though the performance, I'll tell you, is perfectly fine for everyday driving. You won't have to worry about merging onto the expressway, even if this thing does feel a little bit winded at higher speeds. This is far from the newest or fanciest EV on the road today, but damn if it isn't great. The C40 is refined in all areas. It has a super solid feel, almost like a granite countertop. The ride is very firm, but also well balanced. The steering is nicely weighted. The brake pedal is super easy to modulate, and of course, we do have a one-pedal mode that you can very easily turn on right from the infotainment screen. And overall, this vehicle is it's really, really well done, and it's good at a whole bunch of different things. It's very impressive. Yet another amenity that comes in Ultimate models is adaptive cruise control with pilot assist, which is basically lane centering. And of course, the system controls the vehicle speed. It does much of the steering for you. And I will say it works exceptionally well in stop-and-go driving. So those rush hour commutes, the car is going to be doing almost all of the work for you. Though I will say it is not a hands-off system like Super Cruise or Blue Cruise. You've got to keep your meat hooks on the tiller, even if the car is doing like 90% of the work for you. One more thing to be aware of while driving this vehicle is the extremely limited rearward visibility. Thanks to that dramatically sloping roofline, the backlight is quite small. Of course, there's no windshield wiper there either, not that it would really matter since it is so tiny, but just be aware, it's hard to see out the back of the C40 here, though Ultimate models do come with a 360-degree camera system that is a godsend when you are parking. Naturally, since this is a Volvo, you get a whole range of advanced driver assistance technologies. This vehicle is fitted with blind spot monitoring. There's lane keeping assist, rain sensing wipers, road sign recognition, pedestrian and cyclist detection, road departure mitigation, and a whole bunch of other features. Anyway, let's recap the strengths and weaknesses of the 2024 Volvo C40 Recharge and then wrap up this review. The single-motor rear-drive model's improved range is a welcome enhancement. This Volvo's Google-powered infotainment system absolutely rocks. The C40 Recharge is more refined than an etiquette coach. The driving performance is good. The DC fast charging is way better than before. And this SUV still looks great. Now, a few areas could be improved, of course. The lack of a sunshade for the roof is kind of annoying. The rearward visibility is quite poor. More rear seat space sure would be nice. And that backlit interior trim is just as tacky as ever. So how much does this Volvo cost? Well, according to the window sticker, our tester here checks out for $59,995, including $1195 in destination fees. Now, given that 50% of this vehicle's components were made in China, the drivetrain was built in Sweden, and final assembly completed in Belgium, of all places, it should be no surprise that the C40 Recharge is not eligible for any U.S. federal tax credits, but still, 60 grand for the absolute top shelf model really isn't that bad. And of course, if you get a base version of this vehicle, you can save a few $1,000s more. Though if you do want all-wheel drive, of course, that is on the menu, but you're going to charge slower, have less range, and it's going to cost you about $1,750 more. There are certainly a few areas where this coupe-like SUV could be improved, but I'll tell you, overall, the C40 Recharge is a delightful EV, and this new single-motor rear-wheel drive model is absolutely the version to get. Next up, if you're shopping for an electric vehicle with 3 rows of seats, consider the fashionable and versatile Kia EV9, and you can check out my full review by clicking right over here.